For decades, the world was shaped by the dominance of the United States and its Western allies. This Western-centric order influenced everything from global trade to security alliances and set the rules for how nations interacted on the world stage. But now, a new force is rising: BRICS. This coalition is challenging the status quo and offering an alternative vision for the future of international relations. Originally, BRICS brought together Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, large, fast-growing economies seeking a bigger role in global affairs. These countries, each with unique strengths and challenges, found common ground in their desire for greater influence and a fairer global system. Their goal? To challenge the old order and create a world where power isn't concentrated in just one place. They envision a system where decisions are made collectively, reflecting the interests of more nations. BRICS has expanded, welcoming Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, making it a major player representing much of the world's population and economic output. With these new members, BRICS now spans several continents and brings together diverse cultures, resources, and perspectives. The group's mission is to build a multipolar world, one where influence is shared among several global powers. This approach aims to reduce the risk of conflict and foster cooperation on issues like climate change, development, and technology. To do this, BRICS has created its own institutions, like the new Development Bank, offering loans without the tough conditions of Western lenders. These institutions are designed to support infrastructure, innovation, and sustainable growth in member countries and beyond. This gives developing nations more control over their growth and policies. It allows them to pursue projects that fit their own priorities, rather than being forced to follow outside agendas. BRICS is no longer just an acronym, it's a real alliance with clear goals, including promoting local currencies in trade and challenging the dominance of the US dollar. By encouraging trade in their own currencies, BRICS countries hope to strengthen their economies and reduce vulnerability to external shocks. As more countries show interest, BRICS is poised to reshape the global landscape. Its growing influence could lead to new partnerships, economic opportunities, and a rebalancing of international power. The question now isn't if BRICS will be influential, but how much it will change the world. Will it create a more balanced system or spark new rivalries? Only time will tell. BRICS stands as a symbol of a planet moving from a single superpower to a more complex, shared arrangement of power. Its story is still being written, but one thing is clear: the world is entering a new era of global cooperation and competition. Why are countries flocking to BRICS? 3 reasons: economic opportunity, political independence, and a stronger global voice. The bloc's new development bank offers funding with fewer strings, letting nations pursue their own priorities. For many, joining BRICS is a way to assert sovereignty and hedge against Western pressure or sanctions. It signals new alliances and greater autonomy in foreign policy. BRICS also amplifies its members' voices. Together, they can shape global debates and push for reforms that reflect their interests. Even countries like Turkey, long tied to the West, have shown interest, frustrated by stalled EU talks and seeking respect and opportunity elsewhere. Though Turkey's bid was blocked, its interest highlights a trend. Nations are looking east for new partnerships. BRICS offers respect, opportunity, and a break from old hierarchies. The bloc's appeal is growing, even among those once firmly in the Western camp. The European Union was built on unity, binding economies and politics to prevent conflict and create prosperity. After the devastation of 2 world wars, European nations realized that only by coming together could they secure lasting peace and stability. The EU's founding vision was to make war not only unthinkable, but materially impossible, by weaving nations so closely together that cooperation became the norm. As a single bloc, the EU wields immense economic and diplomatic power, letting even its smallest members influence global affairs. This collective strength means that decisions made in Brussels can shape policies far beyond Europe's borders, from trade to climate action. This shared sovereignty is the EU's strength, allowing it to set standards and negotiate as one. By pooling resources and authority, member states amplify their voices, achieving more together than they could alone. The EU is also grounded in democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, enforced by strong institutions. These principles are not just ideals, they are the foundation of the EU's legitimacy and its appeal to citizens across the continent. This framework creates stability and a single market, boosting growth and living standards. It allows people, goods and ideas to move freely, fostering innovation and opportunity. But unity is fragile. Brexit showed that membership isn't guaranteed, and internal tensions persist. Disagreements over migration, economic policy, and national sovereignty continue to test the bonds that hold the Union together. If any member, let alone two, were to align with a rival bloc like BRICS, it would challenge the very idea of a united Europe. Such a shift could send shockwaves through the global order, raising questions about the EU's future direction. Such a move could unravel decades of integration and threaten the EU's global standing. The hard-won achievements of cooperation and peace could be put at risk, with consequences for generations to come. The EU's greatest challenge is maintaining solidarity in a changing world. As new crises emerge and old divisions resurface, the Union must adapt while staying true to its founding ideals. Any crack in this foundation could weaken the entire project. The future of Europe depends on its ability to remain united, resilient, and committed to the values that first brought it together. Could EU members really turn to BRICS? It's not impossible. Some Central and Eastern European countries feel sidelined by EU decision-making, dominated by France and Germany. Economic struggles under strict EU rules could make BRICS's no-strings-attached investment offers tempting. Political clashes, like those over judicial independence, have already strained relations between Brussels and some governments. BRICS, with its hands-off approach, might seem more accommodating to nations feeling alienated. Turkey's interest in BRICS, born from EU frustration, shows this isn't just theory. If two EU states faced economic hardship and political friction, joining BRICS could look like self-preservation, not betrayal. They might argue they're diversifying partnerships for their own prosperity and sovereignty. Such a move would expose deep cracks in the European project. If two EU members joined BRICS, it would be a political earthquake for the West. For the EU, it would signal a crisis far deeper than Brexit, shattering the illusion of unity and risking a domino effect. The US would see a fractured Europe as a strategic nightmare, weakening transatlantic cooperation and security. The likely response: economic penalties and diplomatic isolation for the defectors, aiming to deter others. But harsh measures could backfire, pushing the nations closer to BRICS and deepening EU divisions. The crisis would force the West to confront why its model is losing appeal. Leaders in Washington and Brussels would have to rethink how to keep their alliance relevant. The stakes, nothing less than the future of the global order. Two European nations joining BRICS would mark the end of unchallenged Western dominance, signaling a dramatic shift in the world's power structure. For decades, the West has set the rules, but this move would send a clear message: the global order is changing and new voices are demanding to be heard. We would witness the rise of a truly multipolar world. The old lines between the West and the rest would blur, creating a more complex and unpredictable global landscape. Competing visions for the future would emerge, with BRICS challenging Western rules and institutions at every turn. The United Nations and other international bodies would become battlegrounds for influence, as BRICS pushes its own agenda and seeks to reshape global governance. Economically, the US dollar's dominance would face real threats, with BRICS members trading in local currencies and building alternative financial systems. This de-dollarization would weaken Washington's financial leverage and could spark a wave of innovation in global finance. Middle and smaller powers could play blocks against each other, gaining more autonomy, but also facing new risks and uncertainties. The world would become a more fluid chessboard with shifting alliances, unexpected partnerships, and uncertain futures. This isn't just a change in power, it's a transformation in how international relations work. The rules of the game are being rewritten before our eyes, and the outcome is far from certain. This global shift isn't just for diplomats, it affects us all. A multipolar world could mean more economic volatility, with rising costs for everyday goods as currencies fluctuate. The stability many take for granted could erode, and increased global tension might lead to higher defense spending and less for social needs. Travel, work, and study across borders could become more complicated. Yet, competition between blocs might bring more investment and better infrastructure, especially in developing countries. For many, A fairer distribution of power could offer hope and national pride. But uncertainty will be the new normal, as old rules fade and new ones emerge. We'll need to pay closer attention to global events. They'll impact our lives more directly than ever. The choices governments make now will shape our future opportunities. Understanding these changes is crucial for everyone, as the world enters a new era.